So this portion of my channel is going to be about a Cobra kit build. Been wanting to do one of these for a long time, since I was a kid. Um, when I was, I think it was fifth or sixth grade, someone in a Christmas party gave me a little die cast. What is it, like 1/16 scale Cobra, and I just thought it was the coolest darn thing I'd ever seen. And right about that same time, I happened to not be feeling good and stayed home from church one day when I was a kid, and was watching OPB, and they had some sort of a classic car show, and they were talking about the Cobras, and I happened to have gotten that die cast shortly before that or after that, I don't remember, and just the combination between the two really kind of sparked a little bit of a love affair about that car. And there was others that I've always really liked, like the 1970s Stingray. Um, those are pretty darn cool cars. But ultimately, as I got older, when I kind of exited high school and moved out on my own, and started looking into Cobras, finding out more about the different kit manufacturers. I reached out to I think it was Superformance, and they sent me a whole packet with a DVD and to talk about kind of who they were. But at the time, I was pretty hand to mouth with paychecks, and so there was no way I was going to be able to build one of those anytime soon. But then I looked into some of the other budget kit manufacturers and thought, well, shoot, I could go buy myself an old Mustang and be able to convert that sucker over with the kit, using all the parts out of the Mustang into my own Cobra, and be at the time. I think it was if you went with the basic kit, you get out under 20 grand, which was pretty cool. And yeah, I thought that was a pretty darn good option. But as I got older and started having a family, just kind of put this one a little bit aside as a maybe I'll do it in retirement. Maybe it'll happen down the road. Fast forward, a couple of decades, and was talking, just kind of been talking with some different folks and following a bunch of different Cobra Build channels, and really started to get that bug again, biting me. And so I think I've been following a handful of different Cobra Build channels the last 4 or 5 years, and finally decided, you know what, I've got the finances. Now is the time to go ahead and do this while I'm still young and working, and can enjoy these, and also be able to potentially have my kids help me with this build. Um, I always enjoyed helping my father with any of our automotive work or work in the backyard or what have you, right? Anything to do with our hands and being able to get dirty and make something out of nothing. I've always enjoyed, which is again part of my title of my channel, right? And has to do with some gardening and woodworking and working on cars and all that. So anyway, so moving on. So I finally decided, hey, now's the time. I had been watching Pete's Snakebite Kit over here on YouTube, and he did a whole video series going through all the different manufacturers, and kind of what they've got going on for them, what they don't. I wasn't looking for a Cobra manufacturer, Cobra kit manufacturer rather, that was trying to be authentic, like pure spec, right? That wasn't my thing, because the reality is I'm going to enjoy it for me, and I don't need to get that kind of down into it. There's going to be some very things that I'll customize for me. I'm probably going to be doing my own dash, and the center console will be a little bit different. I'm doing undercar exhaust, dual roll bars. The undercar exhaust was a very intentional choice because I've got a we're none of us in my family are very tall, and so my wife and kids, I want them to be able to get in and out without burning their legs, but I also want to be able to take road trips, and wrap the whole exhaust and potentially help keep the heat down and the noise. So that's one of the things I've got going on with that one. But anyway, I kind of narrowed it down to two different brands, Shell Valley and Hurricane. Hurricane had gone through a couple of ownership changes over the last handful of years, and while their builds are pretty darn awesome, when I finally got around to getting an estimate from them recently, it was substantially higher than what they had, the previous owners were quoting on their website. I'm not entirely sure what's up with that. It probably just has to do with capital investment and everything. But when I kind of looked at that, it shied me away from wanting to go with the Hurricane. And I talked to the folks over at Shell Valley, and I was able to pick the Cobra Replica complete kit, and throw in the engine, which I'll talk about that here in a moment, for about the same price as what Hurricane was quoting me just for the kit. And the complete kit of Shell Valley's actually had more to it than the Hurricane did. So that's why I went with the Shell Valley over the Hurricane. Both of them have fiberglass tubs, which I really like, and there's not as much aluminum paneling and riveting and silicone and all that some of the more budget friendly kit manufacturers that you have to do, and that's fine. But time is money, and I'd like to get the sucker on the road sooner than later. Reality is it'll probably be a 1 to 2 year project, and that's okay. I've built a teardrop in the past. I've restored a tent trailer. I've done a handful of major projects myself, and I know they do take time, and that's okay. And life happens, and you have to balance everything. So, all right. So engines. So I looked at a bunch of different companies. Blueprint obviously has some of the best kind of out of the box ones, as far as like warranties and just kind of robust, repeatable results. And it just so happens that Shell Valley also is a dealer for their stuff, or rather, they can get it basically at a pretty darn good cost. So I went ahead and had them add this 347. They have two options that they work with, but they're kind of like a builder's series. So if you go to Blueprint's website, you can actually see what they have out there, and based on the part numbers, you can see what motor you're getting. So I'm doing the 347, and it has 415 horse, and then it has the 5-speed TKX in there. I am going Ford 9-inch in the back. I didn't want to do IRS. Just kind of went back and forth a little bit about that, and really at the end of the day, some of it came down to cost, and who knows, I may regret it down the road. But I'm pretty happy. That Ford 9-inch is pretty much indestructible, which is awesome. And I'm having them put in a 3.5 rear end, which what I believe is posi track in there as well. So. Super excited. I think they were talking about potentially getting that on the truck next week, so I may have it here in a couple of weeks, and be able to dive in a bit more into this journey and this adventure. So thanks for watching and being a part of this, and I'm sorry if I troll on for you. And like some of the other folks out there, I think Dan's Garage, who built a really nice Factory 5, and he did a hell of a job with the engine. I mean, he's an engine builder. You can tell, or at least he's done that work in the past, because he really kind of went soup to nuts on that one, which is pretty darn cool to see. But he posted at the beginning of every video, not a how-to. This is definitely not going to be a how-to. There's a lot about this I'm going to be learning on the way. I've done plenty of backyard mechanics. I've got a 1986 Pontiac Firebird that I've done some work to. I had a 77 Toyota pickup that I did a bunch of work on, that 20R motor. Recently sold that. And I've had some other older vehicles and helped lots of other folks with mechanic work and doing some different things. Me and a buddy recently did the suspension in his newer Gen Mustang. That was fun. So anyway, this will be an adventure. So thanks for joining along, and hope you like it. And yeah, love to earn your subscription. Thank you.